family. Happy Sunday. Hey, hi. Happy Sunday. S-O-N day. Thank you. Thank you. Satan trying to block. Been trying to block all morning. I've been up, y'all. I have driven an hour away to another city and back. And I did actually, I was only a little late. Now I'm a lot late. I got back in the house. It was exactly 4 minutes after 9. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I've been sitting here for the last 20, 30 minutes trying to get online. The connection, especially on Facebook, it just wouldn't start up. I'm like, okay, really? Okay, really? So let me cover up what's really going on. Okay. Well, thank you for joining, family. Happy Sunday. Today is the 19th of March. Tomorrow's the first day of spring, March 20th. It's also my birthday, so I'm excited about that. We celebrated my husband's birthday yesterday. So let me introduce myself, family. My name is Jerissa. I am the caregiver of two, my mom and my daughter. And I am very happy to say that because it's a blessing to be able to do that. I am also the CEO and founder of God's Chosen Vessels, and I am the creator of the Embrace formula. So I am very happy to say all those things because I realize that I'm at a point in my life where God has allowed me to use my voice, and I am so thankful. I always knew, but I always, as a kid, I always thought it would be in a different way, like singing. Because that's what my family does, and so I always thought that was going to be the medium that I would use, the tool I would use, in that way. But I see that it's not necessarily so. So it's funny how God can take what he gives you and, it's going to be what he wants it to be, not what you want it to be. And I'm very pleased with that. I like his choice a little better, I believe. So anyway, we are here for the word of the day. Today is the 76th episode of Embrace TV's word of the day. So I'm very happy to say that I've committed to 365 days, and we are on day 76. We're talking consecutively. So I'm very happy to say that. And so for those of you who are new, my replay viewers, my followers who have been hanging tough with me every single day, I appreciate you. But for those of you who don't know, the word of the day is simply an exercise that we use to sharpen our perception skills, to help us to see the glass half full as opposed to half empty. To practice or get into practice of seeing life through God's eyes, to see it as not a permanent bad situation, that whatever is allowed to come our way is going to eventually work out for our good. It's God taking us down a road less traveled, a road that we probably wouldn't have chosen, but this is the way we need to go. This is what we need to experience in order to become or to get to the place he's trying to get us, or become the person that he's trying to get us to be. He's trying to show you something, okay? And sometimes it might not be that easy, but you have to trust him and trust process, because he knows how to get you where you need to be. He never leaves, he never forsakes us, and so we have to know that all things are going to work together for our good, says the word. So you have to practice trusting, practice believing that he knows what he knows, and he knows what he's doing better than you or I. And so we need to stop panicking and stop fretting and getting anxious when things happen and that are uncomfortable or unfair or just downright hurtful. Good morning, Amber. Hello. So, you want to start getting into the habit of doing that. You might panic for a moment, and that's okay because we're human. But you have to quickly get out of that thing and remind yourself, hey, wait a minute, what is God doing? Okay, what we doing today, Lord? So that's where you want to be in that mindset. You want to be in that trusting mindset at all times. Thank you for joining. Thank you for inviting your followers. I appreciate you. I was apologizing that I was a little late this morning. I had to drive about an hour away and do something for some relatives, and I made it back on time. Then I got in here and I've been fiddling around with this phone because it wouldn't let me connect. So I said, Satan is already doing what he do. He didn't want me to be great today. But that's okay, because God's going to have his way. And so here I am. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, sis. And for all you Facebook family and members, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you. 'Cause I know everybody might be trying to get ready to go to service. Depending on where you are in the world, you might already be in service. So I thank you for watching the replay. So we're going to go ahead and start the word of the day. So we pick a word from this class, okay? And then when I pick the word, I give you my first thought or what comes to mind, initially. Sometimes it's an easy word, sometimes it's a more complicated and sometimes negative feeling kind of word. So that's where the practice comes in. That's when, okay, how can I flip this thing? How can I try to see it as something that's going to help me? You don't want your thoughts to ever stay in a negative spot. It's for too long, because that minute turns into an hour, that hour turns into a day. Days tend to turn into weeks. And before you know, you look up, a month has passed and you've been just kind of sitting in this funk. And it's so hard to get out of. When you get to that point, we've all probably experienced it at one time or another. When you get into that little funky thing where it just feels like you can't crawl your way out. You're too tired to pray. That's just right where Satan wants you. He wants to dwell up in here. If he can get a permanent seat, and sit down and cross his legs up in here, then, he's kind of got you where he wants you, because then you're not focused on God. Then you're not focused on what the creator of all things is doing. You can't worry about something and worship about something at the same time. You can't do it. So you stay in that little worried spot. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, you're not focusing on him. You're focusing on that thing that you have allowed your mind to conjure up and make bigger than your God. You see what I'm saying? So that's why this is why we do this. So anyway, I'm going to pick a word, and what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you my thoughts, and I'm hoping that you're maybe journaling or just keeping some note of the words, going to our Facebook page, which is Embrace Formula. The Embrace Formula. I'm sorry. There's a page and soon to be a group. The group is already created. It's just I haven't made the page public yet, because I will eventually be transferring all of these videos off the business page, so to say, and putting it in the group where they'll be accessible only in the group. So be on the watch out for that. Then I have a big announcement tomorrow. I'm so excited about that. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day getting that together. Yeah, so my hubby just left for church, so I appreciate you guys coming in here and being with me and fellowshipping with me. Okay, our word today is half. That's an interesting word. Half. I know my aunt used to say, if you're going to do something, don't half do it. And I'll just leave it at that. Some people might phrase it a little differently, but don't half do it. Our God is not a half God. He's not a half God. He's 100% God. Hezekiah Walker had a song called 99 and a half won't do. Lord, I'm running, trying to make 100. 99 and a half won't do. How many of you feel that 99 and a half won't do? Are you so dedicated to that thing? You so dedicated. Not only to, some people are really dedicated to their job, and they're dedicated to their family and their spouse. How many are that dedicated to kingdom building? How many are dedicated to trying to be like Jesus? 99 and a half won't do. I mean, you just go to bed just, okay, what did I do? What did I do? How can I do better? Do you go to bed with that mindset? I know I always feel like I want to make my daddy proud. And, my earthly daddy, he's gone, but it was special because I'm a daddy's girl. But I'm talking about my heavenly Father. I want him to say, yeah, that one right there, that's mine. That's mine. She messed up sometime, but that chick right there, she trying to give it 100. She really is. I really want him to feel that way about me, because we're never going to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect, and we need to accept that fact. But it's in that's right, girl, 99 and a half won't do. It won't do. And that's really how we should feel, when it comes to serving him and being like him, being Christian Christ-like, Christian Christ-like. So we're striving. So it's okay. We can accept the fact that we'll never be, 100, but just to feel inside, just so dedicated, even when I get it almost 99 and a half, but there's just something in me that's like, but that won't do, Lord. I want to give you my best. I might not be perfect, but I'm striving for that. And that's how I know that's how I feel when it comes to, I reached a point in my life where the things that were important to me when I guess in my 20s, they just, nobody really care about it. Your mindset really changes, as you get older and he grants you and blesses you and has mercy upon your poor little soul and gives you more days. You wake up every day, you open your eyes, and it's like, wow, one more mercy. Thank you, Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because that what the OGs used to say, my bed could have been my cooling board. And for those of y'all that don't know what that means, in other words, you could have died in your sleep. That's basically you just gone and don't even know you gone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful that my bed was not my cooling board when I open up my eyes every morning. So that gives me another chance. Like I say in the closing, he opened your eyes, giving you another chance to get it right. So you didn't get that 100%. Well, now you got another chance to at least aim for it today. And I feel that 99.5 just won't do. He gave me 100%. Hello, thank you, family, for joining. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. It's at. I'm gonna put AT. I don't even know how to. And I don't want to mess it up, darling. But thank you so much for joining and for inviting your followers, and for the hearts. I appreciate you. He did not give us less than 100%. And he never does. He is a God of completion. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have do anything. He didn't have create the universe. He didn't have create this planet that we live on. He didn't have create us. He went above and beyond. In fact, when he created us, because he actually breathed his life and his spirit into us. He didn't do that for anything and anything else on this planet. We are formed in his image. We were created in his image, and he's as perfect as you can get. And so, he doesn't have to do anything. And I think that's it's a blessing. We talk about unconditional love. He is, the poster child for unconditional love. There's no other love like his love. And when I think about how much he gives, he's always given. We talked about that the other day. That was our give. Give was one of our word of the day. And he's a give. No, it was taken. And we were saying that he's a giver. And he is. His nature is to give life, to give healing, mercies, grace, favor. He just gives. He just pours into us all the time. And so, he never half does anything. He completes. Our life is complete in him, and not in people. Not in man, not in our job. Our job doesn't complete us. Some feel that they do, and then they find out later on, 35 years later when they give you a little gold pen, and you're walking away from that place feeling a little janky because it's like, okay, I gave you my all, and this is what I get. People are never going to intentionally or unintentionally give you 100. Nothing is going to fill those voids, whatever those voids are in your life. God doesn't just fill us halfway. He completes us. It's 100% process always. And he's the only one that can do that. And so I love his nature. When we start thinking about his nature, which seems to come up a lot in the words of the day, that's all about studying him, because we want to be like him. So of course we have to study him so we can be like him. We got to know what his characteristics are. We have to know what the traits are. Okay, who is this Jesus guy? What's he all about? What makes him tick? And looking at it from that standpoint to understand him. Okay, good morning. I'm not sure who else came in, but hello. Thank you, family. What makes him tick? And so the more we study his nature, then it's easier to kind of identify with where we need to go, so we can try to get past that half thing that we tend to do, that worship on Sunday. Okay, I'm good till next Sunday, and not realizing that we are the church. We are the body of Christ. It's not the building. It's not the edifice that you go to in the crowded parking lot in the morning, on Sunday morning. That's a beautiful place for the body to assemble. And so, but the building is not the church. You and I are the church. We're the church. And so we need to recognize that we have to give 100% in what we do, 100% in kingdom building, 100% in living our life, so our life can be a testimony to someone. Okay. Because in a lot of instances, we are the only church that some people will see. We still live in a day and age where people don't attend. I know now in where I am in my life, church for me looks totally different than how it looked when I was, how I was raised. And I know there are some still places, there's some still churches that are still worshiping and using that order and I'll say tradition, and I realize that, and I have nothing against that. I'm just saying, but I have lived long enough to kind of experience what is termed a more charismatic type of non-denominational kind of thing. I was born and raised Baptist, OBB, Old Black Baptist. Don't get it twisted. We can go down here. You know the order of the service. When you get there in the morning, you know exactly what's going on because it's done the same way. Them deacons up there in the front, they pull in that devotion. Well, you had that hymn, and then you got a prayer, then you got another hymn, and then you have another prayer, and then you have another hymn, and then you had the announcements, and then you had a welcome. I can ramble it off to you. I'm going to tell you where it is every OBB USA, wherever on a Sunday morning, I can tell you where they are on that program, And so I've seen that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I thank God for my upbringing. But what I'm saying, sometimes as believers, we can get so into that tradition and so into the rut of doing things, we forget that we are the church. And in doing so, I think we unknowingly become robots to the whole thing, which will lead to us just giving half of what we should be, if that much, of what we should be doing as far as glorifying him and bringing and drawing others and witnessing and doing all the things that we should do that fall under the umbrella of kingdom building and serving and bringing others to Christ and letting them see Christ in us so they will want to know more about him. And so going back to the word, the word of the day, which is have, I think in so many different situations, it's a matter of sitting down and reevaluating ourselves. And I don't think we do that enough. I know I can honestly say I'm getting into the habit of doing that. Just like you get an evaluation on your job, every so many months, the boss will they'll call for you and you sit in there and your palms get sweaty because you're about to get evaluated. So they're looking at your performance. Well, so if God were to evaluate you like that let's just say every month on the first, you got an evaluation coming. We're going to put it the first. We're going to make it easy to remember. Why not be in the mindset of saying, I'm being evaluated? So you self-evaluate yourself. What have you done? How have you done? Have you given 100%? Or can you just have, people have a term. I'm going to be nice. I'm saying you have behind, do what you need to do as a believer. Hello, good morning, Periscope family. Thank you for inviting your followers and for the hearts. I appreciate it. So do you have behind, kingdom building, or are you at that 99.5%, or are you 100% on that thing? What is your desire? What you desire and where your heart is usually the rest kind of follows. Is it a priority on your list of things to do every day, or is it kind of just, a second thought? If the conversation comes up and you're witnessing to someone, or you're having a conversation about the goodness of the Lord because it just happened to come, are you deliberate about that thing, or did it accidentally happen? And when it accidentally happened, do you go for the gusto, or you kind of just pull back a little bit because I don't think they feeling that? You know what I'm saying? How do you approach that thing? How do you approach kingdom building? Where's your mindset? What is your priority? And that's really between you and God. I mean, you ain't got to break it down and explain it to me, but I'm just giving you the thought. Where are you on that thing? And you have one life. You're accountable for you. So if you were to be called into the office right now, God Almighty says time for your evaluation, what would he say to you? Would you say, if he asked you, are you giving me 100%? Are you giving me half? What would your answer be? I mean, and you know the answer. So that's going to be my take on the word today. Am I giving 100% or am I giving half? If I'm putting more effort into man, if I'm putting more effort into anything other than, God, the God who created me, then that's a problem. That's a problem. Everybody has their own way, I understand, of witnessing. And so I'm not trying, I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to pigeonhole them, because what Darissa does is going to be totally, because I understand I'm a different kind of animal. I understand that. Yeah. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Excuse me, please. That's a question for you to ask yourself. How much how much do you really put into letting a person know that you are a believer? How much does it take for you to feel satisfied at the end of the day that you represent it well? And it doesn't mean you got to stand on the top of a soapbox and preach all day long. I'm not talking about that. Your life should be a reflection. The other day we talked about the word up, and I was just saying just something as simple as people who around you at your workplace or whatever, or the family, they know you got such and such going on in your life. And so they're looking at you ready for you to break down. They ready for the tears. They ready for it. But instead you walking around with a smile on your face. Praise the Lord anyway. You know what I'm saying? That in and of itself is a way of testifying, because they see that and they want to know, well, what is it? What is it? What's she smoking? what is it she on that's causing this woman to, or this brother to just always be at peace when the storm is obviously raging around them? You know what I'm saying? So they watching you, which is causing them to wonder, what is that you got? Because I think I want that, because I got some mess going on in my life too, and I'm not handling it half as well as they are. So that in and of itself, could be your way of providing a testimony to someone. Because again, people are watching, and your life is a testimony to those who might not ever set foot in a church. Good morning, Sarah. How you doing, sis? Nice to see you. Happy Sunday. S-O-N. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for inviting your followers, darling. I appreciate you. So yeah, give some thought to the word is half, Sarah. And I start off by saying, I remember Brother Hezekiah and them. Hezekiah Walker had a song, 99 and a half won't do. So what are you doing for the kingdom? Yes, baby. What you doing for the kingdom? Are you giving your whole 100% like God always gives? What are you doing? Are you happy with your 99 and a half? Because you say, well, close enough. We'll never be perfect, but you don't want to get complacent in that thing. You want to always make it a priority that you're giving to the one who always gives, And I was saying everybody's way is different. Just to kind of recap, so one person's, preaching is their way of giving. That might not be your way. It don't have to be your way. That's not the only way. I was saying just your mere life and how you carry yourself in the midst of trouble, allowing someone who's not necessarily a believer or who might be kind of wavering in their faith, but they see how you carry on in the midst of your storms. That right there is a testimony, because they're watching. They're watching how you react, and because you believe and because you're relying on God. It's like that makes them want more of what you have. Okay. So that could be a way. So there's so many different ways, but that's just an example, just so you'll know that you don't have to pigeon-toe that thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, pigeonhole. I said pigeon-toe. Country. Y'all know how I do. So I'm just saying you have to get with God on how he wants you to navigate. You know what I'm saying? But whatever you do and however you do it, however you live to the fullest. Give it 100%. Don't settle for that half. Don't settle for that half, because he ain't a half kind of God. He is not a half kind of God. You know me. That's so funny. So, he's not a half kind of God. He never has been, never will be. He gives to us 100%. He forgives us 100%. He blesses us 100%. New mercies are 100. Favors 100. Yeah, he puts hundreds on it. He really does, all the time. So I think we owe him our best all the time. Sometimes we fall short. But we keep going, and our intention should be to give him 100, not a half. Give him, he should be getting way more than what you give. You give 100 even when you don't want to that boss of yours. You do it every day, every Monday. We almost there too. You get up. You don't want to go, but what you do, you get up 2 hours early anyway, hit that traffic anyway, clock in on time anyway. You give him 100, and he don't bit more love you. I'm just saying. But the one who does, you want to give him an hour and a half of your time, and you look, and it's ain't this March Madness or something, and then you want to be looking at the clock because the preacher preaching too long because you got to get home to your. Excuse me, I ain't talking to nobody, am I? I'm just saying, you better go get your life. Give him 100%. That's what you better do. I'm just saying, y'all, ouch. But I'm just saying, he deserves 100%. He really does. And however that looks for you, that's between you and God. But however it looks, give him 100. Give him 100. Really, really. He's your best friend. He deserves that. He really deserves that. He gave you another chance today. So use it for him. Use it for him to the best of your ability. So I love y'all, and I thank y'all for joining. So I am, like I was saying, Sarah, if you're still on here, I've driven an hour out of town this morning. I had to go do something with some relatives. So I was up. I set the clock. I got up. I got in the car, made that drive, actually made it back in the house. It was 4 minutes after 9. I was like, okay, I can do this. Then I sat here for 25 minutes trying to get a connection. I'm like, okay, really? So here we are. So I was a little late this morning, and I apologize for that. But I thank you all for joining and catching me. When you got that notification, you jumped right on in. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I hope the weather is fine. For those of you on the East Coast, I'm getting ready to call my relatives because they're all in Philly and check on them. Because I didn't get a chance to yesterday. We celebrated my husband's birthday yesterday. So we were kind of busy with family and everything. So I'm going to go catch up with them, make sure all of them are doing okay. I hope and pray everything is wonderful in your world. I really do. And I will talk to you tomorrow for the word of the day. Lord, say the same. And then later tomorrow, after I know all my sisters are coming to me. They're bringing the party to me tomorrow. So we don't have to worry about finding someone for mom, which is cool. I like that better. Because I always I celebrate with my mother, because if without her, I wouldn't have a birthday. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm going to be rolling tomorrow. But I'm hoping around 5-ish Pacific time is when I'm going to come back to. Somewhere between 4 and 5 is my target, to make announcements on the upcoming events for caregivers and the new podcast that's coming up. I'm excited about that. So I thank you all for joining me. I thank you for hanging tough with me. I love you all. I pray that you and your families have a blessed and fabulous day. I'm encouraging you to embrace your life and embrace your purpose, to cherish your time. God gave you another chance and open your eyes this morning, giving you another chance to get it right, y'all. Don't give him half. Give him 100. Aim for that bullseye, that 100 in the middle. That's what you do. I think he'll be quite pleased with that. Okay, I love y'all. Be blessed, and be blessed.